Okay, welcome everyone. This is the Premier Chess Adult Intermediate. This is the winter 2021 to 2022 class, and this is week 6. And we're gonna look at a puzzle and maybe I'm thinking about doing some child prodigy brilliant games to just to make you all feel inadequate.
Worse.
Seeing how some child prodigies can play chess. All right, so here let's go back to the beginning because I like doing that. E4, C6, D4, D5. All right, what's the name of this opening? Anybody know?
That's Caro Kann.
Yeah, Caro Kann defense. So here there's a few options that white can do. White can push, that'd be the advanced variation. He can take on D5, that'd be the exchange variation, leading to pretty, well, not symmetrical, but pretty even position. He can protect with bishop D3, knight C3, so he can do a few things. So here he chooses to protect knight C3, takes, okay, knight D7, knight G5. All right, E6. Okay. This knight looks kind of weird out there by himself. All right, knight G F6. But okay. I don't know what this knight's doing here. It's kind of looking weird. It's kind of asking black to play H6 and kick him away. All right, bishop D3, knight B6, queen E2, H6. All right. Wow. All right. So what do you think white plays here? See if you can guess what white plays here.
Knight T4.
Yeah, so knight E4 is a natural move, right? Knight's being attacked, so why not save the knight? That is a natural move. He doesn't play that though. What do you think he plays? And knight H3 just looks like the knight is misplaced and on the side of the board. So what else do you think white played here?
Knight F7.
Yeah, so he sacrifices knight and on F7 to create some kind of kingside attack, lure the king out. So let's see what happens. Knight takes, king takes. So what do you think he did? Well, how do you follow up with this?
Knight to E5.
Yeah, so continue attacking, knight E5. So now he goes king G8. White goes C3. Bishop D7, castle, bishop E8, cover the G6 square. All right, bishop G6, knight B to D7. All right, so this is the position. Wow. So all right, so white to move. What do you think the strongest move is for white here?
How about queen to D3?
Okay, queen D3. So white just sacrificed a knight, right? So he's definitely going for an attack. So when you're going for the attack, what are you trying to avoid doing?
Trading pieces.
Yeah, you don't want to trade pieces because the more pieces that you trade, the weaker your attack becomes, right? And the easier for your opponent to defend. So if you go queen D3, what can black do to facilitate some trades? What do you think?
Black bishop takes the white bishop.
Okay, that's true. You can do that. I was just thinking after queen D3, he can just go knight takes here, pawn takes, and then just trade queens, and now there's no more attack. Okay. Right. So what else?
I have another suggestion.
What about queen to C4?
Okay, queen C4. Okay, so you're targeting here. So yeah, this is the key to this position, right? This pawn on E6 is very weak, right? So if we can get the queen, if we can drop the queen, let's say, onto e6 immediately, that would be check. And then there's only one way that black can block, which is bishop f7, and then queen takes f7 is mate, right? So then the question becomes, how do we get to e6 the fastest or the most efficient way? So yeah, so okay, so let's go back. So queen c4, if we did queen c4, you are targeting here, but oh, there's Leonard again. I mean, that does give black some time. So let's say queen c4, let's say he goes let's see, he goes I don't know, he can just move the bishop over here. And now if check, if queen takes e6 check, he just moves the king to f8, and now there's no more mate, right? So what do you think?
I see the first half of something, but maybe somebody can see the second half. If he moves the knight to f7, forking the queen and the rook, of course, the black bishop will exchange.
Yeah.
Then the white bishop would take, and then the king would come out, and then the queen could go to h5 for a check. And I do see the bishop ready, but I don't see how to do anything with this.
Okay, so in that position with the king on f7 and queen h5, what do you guys think?
Sorry.
You see?
The knight. Yeah.
Yeah, no good. All right, what else?
How about knight to I'm kind of lacking the whole screen here.
Oh, you are? Okay, hold on, let's see.
Let's see.
Is that better?
No, for some reason right now I'm not. My bottom is cut off.
Can everyone see my whole screen?
I can.
Everyone's good? Okay.
I see the whole thing.
All right. Yeah, maybe the Zoom controls, make sure they're not in the way. Or just maximize, if you try to maximize the Zoom window.
All right. So I was thinking that knight could take on c6 and threaten the queen.
Yeah, isn't that a very strong move, right? Knight takes c6, attacking the queen, and now we're threatening immediately coming to e6 and then mate in 2, right? So that's a pretty strong move, right? And the knight is also conveniently protecting e7, so the queen can't even come to e7, right? So very nice. Hey Leonard.
Hello.
You having some computer difficulty?
I think I had a problem with my internet connection.
Okay, good. Welcome. I'm subbing for Evan today. All right, good. So knight c6 is the strongest move, I believe. Yeah. So after knight c6, black's strongest move would probably, to avert mate, would be just taking the bishop, and then you just lose the queen. I think that's probably the best continuation if he wants to continue fighting. Yeah, and he probably takes the bishop there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice. All right, good.
Wow.
All right. So let's do a few, let's see, games. Some child prodigy brilliant games. All right. So the first one is 10 years old Samuel Reshevsky versus Max Brookstein in a simul 1921 in St. Louis. Anybody know who Samuel Reshevsky is? Anybody heard of that name before? No? Okay. So
Yeah, he's probably the best player that never made it to the World Championships.
yeah. So there was a lot of really strong players in history that never became world champion, and yeah, he was probably one of them. He was very often competing at the highest levels of chess at that time. I believe he was probably born, let's see. So he's 10. Yeah, he was born in like 1911. Yeah, 1911. And so somewhere in Eastern Europe, I believe. And so he was famous for being a child prodigy and conducting simuls at a very young age. And there's pictures of him on the internet. You look up Samuel Reshevsky, child prodigy, you'll see pictures of him at that time, like 1915, 16. like conducting simul's with were pretty strong players and having pretty amazing results. And they actually like were you know, they were like he wrote later that they were analyzing his cranium for signs of you know, advanced intelligence. I don't know if they found any, but or any proof in that way, but yeah, so it's pretty amazing. And he had actually some classic clashes with Bobby Fischer, who I believe is he the 11th world champion, something like that. So it's a pretty classic clashes with him. So yeah, he's a very strong player. All right, so this is a simultaneous exhibition game. So when he's 10 years old, so he is white. Samuel Reshevsky is white. So let's see what happened here. All right, e4, e5, f4. Yeah, it's a very common f4. King's Gambit is very common opening in the early 20th century, especially in the 19th century, because it tends to yield really open, sharp, tactical, dynamic games. Very exciting to watch. Probably not the most sound opening, not the most sound sacrifice, but it definitely yielded very exciting games. And that's why it was attractive. It's not played that much anymore. Probably because now with computers, you know, openings have been so extensively analyzed that, you know, it's probably shown to be an inferior opening for white, because it, of course, because it weakens this, you know, e1 to h4 diagonal, which every chess coach constantly, incessantly is telling their students, keep this diagonal closed. Do not open this diagonal. And this opening immediately violates that. So e takes f4, knight f3. All right, so yeah, so knight f3 immediately is a good move to prevent queen h4. But there's actually you know, games at the highest levels of chess where they would play let's say bishop f4, inviting the queen to come down, knowing full well that this would be the result. And so the king, you know, he's not that much in danger here. You know, he looks kind of weird and awkward, but he's not that much in danger. And now the knight's going to come up here with tempo. He's going to push his pawn. So in exchange, so let me ask you guys a question. So why is, like, say, for example, the King's Gambit? So you're sacrificing the f pawn, but what's the purpose? What's one purpose for sacrificing the f pawn?
To get the middle?
Yeah,
Goal
so
setup.
yeah, so controlling of the middle is one of the most important things to do in the opening. So if you can lure away a center pawn, that can be valuable for gaining an initiative and controlling the center, right? So that's a very important feature of the King's Gambit. All right, so let's go back. So he went knight f3, d6, d4. Okay, so seizing control of the center, very natural, very logical. Bishop g4. Okay, the computer doesn't like that. All right, so the computer is very materialistic, right? So because you know, I analyze this with Stockfish. The computer recommends holding onto this pawn very greedily with g5, because after d4, now the bishop is ready to recapture the pawn and gain material equality and just have a strong center. And so the computer recommends g5, which is again a very common response that black can do. So yeah, that's just a different type of opening. All right, so bishop g4, bishop takes, regains the pawn. Queen f6. Okay, so bishop g3, bishop takes, g takes, a6, knight c3. Okay, developing. All right, so now let me ask you here, what do you think white played here? What did Samuel Reshevsky play?
D5.
Okay, so d5, common. Okay,
Knight to D5.
oh, knight to d5.
Knight to D5.
Knight d5. All right. So why'd you pick knight d5 over d5?
Well, now it attacks the queen. The queen has to move. If it
Good
doesn't,
point. Yeah,
it doesn't, the knight can take the pawn and fork the king and the rook.
Yeah, the c7 pawn is attacked. Good. So yeah, d5 seems like a good move. Problem is this d5 square is a really good outpost for the knight, and so you know, he didn't want to block his the d5 square from his knight. So yeah, d5 is really nice move. assuming the central position with tempo. You can say with double tempo, attacking the queen and attacking the c7 pawn, which threatens a fork, right? So very nice move, knight d5. So the queen comes back and protects c7, queen d2, knight g to e7. Okay, so bishop c4 developing, b5, bishop b3, a5. Okay, so a5 threatening a4 and winning the bishop. So he goes a4, blocking that, b4. Okay, queen d3. Now, what's the purpose of queen d3? What do you guys think? What's the purpose? It looks like a weird move, right? What's the purpose of queen d3? So after queen d7, what did white do? What did white do here? Actually, I'll do one more move. He castled first. Rook c8. Okay, now what did white do in this position?
Queen a6.
Okay, so queen a6. Well, what does that threaten? I don't see any threats. What does that attack?
Oh, no.
Right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So what
Queen
else?
c4.
Right, queen c4. Right. So now we have notice that white is the only one with a light square bishop. Right. So this diagonal is pretty sensitive, targeting the f7 square. So queen c4 is kind of threatening the queen to invade on f7, right? So very nice move. So queen c4, creating a battery, threatening to invade. So knight takes, queen takes, g6. Okay, what would you play here? White to play.
Bishop h4.
Bishop h4. Okay, so let's look at this position for a moment. Who has the stronger position? So the material is let's see, I think material is equal. Yeah, material is 7 pawns. Yeah. So material is equal, but like who do you think has a better position?
Well, white has two bishops and they're both developed.
Right. White has the bishop pair. They're very active, right? Compared with the activity of this black bishop is not happy at all. And then what's the other advantage that white has in this position?
It is castled.
Yeah, so white's king is already castled and protected, whereas black's king is still stuck in the center. So given that information, what do you think he did?
You could bring a rook onto the e file.
Okay, true. You can do that. Rook to h to e1, let's say. Maybe he comes something like this, check, and then castles, right? Something like that. And his king is maybe safe. So he chose to be pretty aggressive and open up as quickly as possible, right? So he wants to open up the position immediately. So he goes e5. And it looks like bishop h6 and then castling is the strongest move. Unfortunately, he does not do that. He goes knight d8. All right. And now what do you think white did here?
Pawn takes d6.
Yeah, that makes sense. Taking on d6, opening up the e file. He chose to do the rook move first, but yeah, I think they're both good. So yeah, here he's setting up a discovery. So taking the pawn would be even stronger, right, with the discovery. So the reason that he went to knight d8 was to block the e file, right, from the discovery. So knight e6, queen e4, okay, knight g5. Yeah, I don't know what Black's doing. I think he should just, check the king and then get out of the center. I don't know what he's doing. He's wasting a lot of time doing unnecessary moves. Knight g5, attacking the queen. Okay, so white to move. What do you think white did here? White to move.
We could do. He could do the discovered attack now.
Yeah, so here he chose to sacrifice his queen, right? So yeah, so
wow.
the queen's being attacked right now from the knight on g5. So he chose to sacrifice his queen. Keep in mind, white is 10 years old, okay? It's a simultaneous exhibition, okay? So he chose to sacrifice his queen. Knight takes e4, rook takes e4. Okay, so now Black actually gave back the material with queen e6, but let's see what happens if he didn't give back material. Let's say he went king d8. Now, how would white follow up? What do you think?
Bishop to h4 check.
Yeah, bishop to h4 is killer. Definitely. There's nowhere for the king to go. And the e8 square is covered by the rook. So he would be forced to give up his bishop. I don't know. You could even, maybe taking like this is a little bit stronger. Check. Maybe you go check. And then maybe you pick up this rook. So yeah, it's pretty dominating for white. This king is completely outmatched. All right, so let's go back. So yeah, seeing all that, he chose to give back some material with queen e6. He goes rook takes. So now he doesn't take the rook, interestingly enough. He goes king d7. So why doesn't he take the rook? Let's see. So what if he takes the rook? Now what? What do we do?
Well, if the bishop took the pawn,
Good.
and
So you take the pawn.
threatened the rook.
Yeah, so now the rook is threatened. Now here's the problem. So now where's the rook going to go? So if he goes, let's say he goes here, we have d takes, and now there's no way for him to prevent this promotion without sacrificing his rook, right? He has to sacrifice his entire rook, and then white's just going to be up a whole minor piece, and the win will be easy, right? So he saw that, and so he's like, you know what, let me just not take that. So and of course Black is losing by material right now, so he just says, you know what, let me try to keep material on the board so I can get some compensation maybe, but after rook f6 he just loses all hope and resigns. So he resigned on move 24 here against 10-year-old Samuel Reshevsky. So very nice game. All right, very nice game. And I think this game kind of illustrates the idea of what a lot of beginners do, which is neglect their king safety, right? If you forget about your own king, it can be, the game can be over pretty quickly, right? Pretty disastrous results. So in the words of Alexander Alekin, who is the 4th world champion, right? I think he says, castle early, castle often, right? I think very wise words. Any questions on this? Or should I just go to the next one?
Next one.
Yeah, you good? All right, cool. Let's go. So this one, white is, these are some weird names, Divya Deshmukh and versus Waba David George, Mumbai International 2019. So this is a more recent game in India. So these are Indian players, Indian prodigies. All right, so let's look at this game. We have, we have e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop c4. So I guess kind of, would this be like the Italian game? Something like that.
That the Vienna?
Maybe the Vienna. All right. Yeah, I'm not really that well versed in openings like names and variations. I'm more of a chess 960 player, but but yeah. All right, d3, bishop e7, f4. Okay, attacking the center directly. d6. So Black is definitely a little bit more passive now than white. White's got the active bishop. both bishops are doing pretty good. This bishop's a little bit blocked in. So f5. Okay, so immediately clamping down on the black position. Castle, bishop e3. Okay, knight a5, queen e2, knight takes, d takes, c6, castle, queenside, a5. All right. So now, white begins a kingside attack, right? So this is opposite sides castling, right? So a very common strategy in opposite sides castling is pawn storms. So white tries to storm the king side, and black will try to storm the queen side. And it's a race to see who gets through first, who breaks through first. So we have g4, h6, h4, knight d7, knight f3, f6. Okay, trying to close up the position. Again, this bishop is completely blocked in. Very unfortunate bishop. All right, what would you play if you were white here? What would you play?
I'd push the G pawn.
Yeah, very natural move. You're right. You want to open up lines, and g5 will force some trades. So g5, f takes, h takes, h takes. All right, now white to move. What would you play here?
You could bring your queen across and threaten mate.
Excellent. Yeah, now you see the h file is completely open, right? So now white can definitely invade on the h file. So queen h2, a4. All right, now what do you think? What would you do? Oh, sorry. Oh, my fault.
Nope.
There you go.
All right, so the queen comes up, then the king has to escape, and then you could take.
Yeah, so queen
the pawn with the
h7.
knight.
Yeah, queen h7, king f7. Okay, now how would you continue?
Queen g6.
Queen g6, very natural, right? We don't want to allow the king to escape to e8, because once he escapes, then he's gonna come this way, and then that's it. There's no more mate. So queen g6 forces him back onto g8. Okay, now how would you continue?
I would throw the rook down to h7.
Yeah, makes the most sense, right? Whenever you can bring in more pieces into the attack, right, even better, right? So now we have rook h7, threaten immediate mate here. Okay, now we have bishop f6. Okay, so now what do you think?
Rook to h1.
Yep, rook.
Other rook to h1.
Yeah, rook d to h1, yes, is what was played. And there is absolutely nothing that white can do to avert this mate. Very nice. Another way to do a very nice mate is knight takes. Knight takes g5, and then it doesn't really matter what black does. You know, if he takes the knight, you have mate on g7. If he does anything else, you know, queen up, let's say. Okay, so let's do that. I'll give you that as a puzzle. Queen e7. What's the best, strongest continuation for white here?
Still bring the rook on d1 to h.
Or the knight,
Yeah,
or
you
the
could.
knight to e6, right?
No, stronger than that, much stronger. Okay, this will lead to mate, rook d to h1. It will lead to mate, but we can do mate a little bit quicker than that. Actually,
Rook to h8.
right, a little bit more forceful, rook to h8, right? So this would be, anybody know what's the name of this kind of sacrifice? What's the name? This is a decoy sacrifice, right?
Cool.
We are decoying the king onto the h8 square forcefully, and then we follow that up with mate, queen h7 mate. All right, so very nice.
So
Yeah.
how would you define the principle in a decoy checkmate? You draw
What do
with
you
a
mean?
sacrifice. With a sacrifice, you draw the king to a position where there will be no escape, right?
Yeah. So So the sacrifice, there's two there's quite a few different sacrifices, but two of the most common ones that get kind of confused are, one is decoy sacrifice, the other is a deflective sacrifice. So decoy sacrifice, you are decoying a piece onto a square for a particular reason, and a deflective sacrifice, you're deflecting a piece away from doing a particular job, maybe protecting some piece or a square. So that's kind of a slight difference.
Like drawing away a protective piece from the king with a
Right.
sacrifice.
Right. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, draw away a protective piece. Right. So yeah, decoy. And I often, with my kids, I draw the analogy of when you're going fishing, right? You're using a bait or decoy. You're luring the fish onto your hook, right? Yeah. All right. Good.
Okay.
All right. So that is that game. Again, another miniature. This game was over in 20 moves, so very quick. Yeah, amazing how quickly this Kingside Attack occurred, right? So sometimes if you can open up lines, especially the H file, the side files, they're pretty effective, right? And of course,
Okay.
Black didn't do much with this bishop, right? This bishop was blocked in basically the whole game. So very unfortunate.
I think that's kind of like a Grand Prix, just doing the major Kingside Attack on the opening.
Oh, is that the opening? The Grand Prix opening?
I think so. It's like
Or is that in is that with the Sicilian, right? E4,
yeah,
E4,
it's pretty-
C5, and then F4, right?
yeah, it's pretty similar to what was this setup ended up being.
Right. Yeah, true. Except here was this E4, E5 though. All right, good. All right, good. So let's go on to the next one. So this one is 12-year-old Magnus Carlsen in 2003, playing Herstad. So Magnus Carlsen is 2385 in this game, and his opponent is 2249. So 2003. All right, Politan Cup. All right, so let's see. So Magnus Carlsen was white here. All right, so let's see what happened. So we have E4, E5, Knight F3, Knight C6, Bishop B5, A6, Bishop A4. So we have what's the name of this opening, first of all?
And that's Rui Lopez.
Yeah, Rui Lopez, very common opening at the highest levels of chess. Yeah, very extensively analyzed, all these opening variations. All right, so Bishop A4, Knight F6. Oh, by the way, why is so it seems like in this opening, after Knight F3, Knight C6, this opening revolves around the E5 pawn, right? White's attacking the E5 pawn, Black's defending. So why, after Bishop B5, A6, why is Black not worried about White removing this piece that's defending the E5 pawn? Anybody can tell me why?
Because
is
queen can move to H4 and check and get the knight. No.
No. So now what happens? So let's say White took away the knight, and then gobbled up this pawn. So now what?
So the queen comes down and attacks the knight and the pawn
On which square?
on
F-
D4.
Good, D4, excellent. Yeah, if we have a nice fork here on D4, both pawn and knight are unprotected, and so Black will win the pawn easily. And there's one more way that Black can win a pawn back. Can you see it?
Queen to G5.
Queen G5, excellent. Yeah. So again, the knight on E5 and the pawn on G2, both unprotected, and one of them, so Black will win back a pawn. So yeah, it's not really a free pawn. Oh, sorry. So it's not really a free pawn for that reason. All right. So for that reason, after A6, we have it goes back to A4, right? And also another reason is most of the times, most high-level players would prefer to have their bishops over knights, right? So they wouldn't willingly trade their bishop for a knight unless they had a really good reason, So this is not such a good reason. Okay, so castle, B5, bishop B3, bishop E7. Okay, rook E1, D6, C3, castle, H3, Okay, knight a5, bishop c2, saving his bishop, c5. I believe this is called the Marshall attack, right? Does anybody know? Anybody confirm that? Anybody aware of this one? I think it's the Marshall attack. C5, d4, queen c7, knight bd2, knight c6. All right, so here, there's a couple of different options. This option of going knight f1, knight g3, that's one option. Maybe even coming to b3, maybe even trying to, oh, Kian's there. Maybe even pushing on a4, trying to open up the a file. So there's a couple of options here. Hey, Kian.
Hey, Daniel, how's it going?
Good
Sorry
to
I'm
see
late,
you.
but I thought better late than never. So
Yeah, welcome.
apologize about that. Thank you.
I'm filling in for Evan today. So, all right. So we have, so this is basically, Kian, this is a game. We're going over Child Prodigy Brilliancies. So this is 12-year-old Magnus Carlsen in 2003. So Carlsen is white. All right. So knight c6. So we have d5. He chooses to close up the position. Knight d8, a4, trying to open up the a file. Rook a7. Why rook a7? Why did he do that?
The pawns exchange in the A and B file, the rook would be
Good.
unprotected.
Yeah, here the rook is unprotected, and here the rook is protected, right? So, okay, good move. Okay, knight f1. So the rerouting of the knight, the f1, g3 there. All right, so we have g6. Okay, so g6 immediately creating a weakness here on the dark squares. So he seizes that immediately. Bishop h6, rook e8, knight g3. We have knight d7. Okay, so now white, they're kind of reorganizing their pieces. Knight h2, f6. All right. Bishop e3. Okay. Knight b6. Takes. Okay. Bishop d3. All right. Bishop d7. Queen d2. All right. Knight f7. Takes. Okay. Queen e2, targeting b5. Queen a6. Okay. Knight g4, improving position slowly. King g7. Bishop c1. Knight a4. Bishop c2. Rook a8. So now black has complete control over the a file. Probably will try to invade along the a file. Queen e3. Now there's a very nice reorganization of the bishop and the queen, creating a battery attempting to invade on h6. All right, so that's pretty nice. c4. So rook f1. So why rook f1? Why do you think he played that? What do you think?
Then he can play the pawn to f4 and he can activate his rook.
Yeah, definitely wants to open up the f file, right? So he's going to play f4, trade a pawn maybe, and open up the f file for his rook. All right, so knight c5, knight h6. Okay, trying to trade here, maybe invade on h6. Goes knight g5. All right, we have f4, takes. All right. So looks like this this knight is hanging, but he doesn't take it. He goes here. All right, so why do you think he did this? Bishop takes h3. Why do you think black did that? Computer doesn't like it at all. why did right. So if he takes here, we have knight h3. We have a nice royal fork by the knight. So all right, so little as any of you watch the YouTube channel Surin, Chess with Surin on YouTube? No? Nobody? Okay. This is Armenian guy, makes chess videos. Pretty good. I like him. And he's got a pretty thick accent. But every time one of the players does a move like this, which is like, this is like a a tiny minuscule combination, like a 2-move combination, you'd call this a cheap trick. He's like, there black goes doing a cheap trick. I love that. So yeah, cheap trick right there. So Carlson doesn't take it, of course. Queen h4, bishop drops back, d5. All right, what do you think Carlson
start-
played? Yeah, go ahead.
Out of curiosity, we mentioned the knight was undefended.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
Sorry.
You want to go back to that?
Yeah, I was just
Let's
curious.
see.
Like,
So let's see.
I-
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, what if the knight was taken? All right. Interesting. Let's see. What could be done? What do you guys think?
yeah, I was expecting the bar to move a lot, but it seems like the analysis is like,
Actually, I didn't even turn on the bar. I mean, I can turn
Oh.
if I turn on the computer, it's going to tell its recommendation. So before I turn it on,
oh, I see.
yeah. So what do you guys think?
Well, the knight is pinned. You could tack
Yeah,
that one on.
Right, so you can win it back immediately with h4, right? So that's a possibility. I mean, I was thinking about like knight f5, so that checks and prevents the king from escaping to g7. And if he comes h5, we have mate on g4, right? But if he takes here, I don't know if there's an attack here. I'm not sure. Let's see. Check. Doesn't look like there's an attack. Yeah. Probably the best course of action, I think, is going h4, recovering the knight. Let's see what the computer says. Just curious, out of curiosity. Yeah, the computer wants to get the knight back immediately. Yeah. All right. So okay, so he doesn't do that. So let's see. Go back. Take queen h4, bishop d7. Okay, so he goes e5, which is a nice move. E5 is a very nice move, opening up the bishop line, right? So this happens a lot. You see this a lot in high level games that, you know, the masters will easily give up a few pawns just to open lines for their pieces, right? So sometimes it's that important to open lines. So here e5, very important for that reason. Okay, so he takes with the d pawn. Okay, so now white to play. What do you think he played here?
Can he play bishop takes the knight on g5? Will that
No,
mess up?
he didn't
No?
play, but let's see. Bishop takes. Let's see. All right, so I assume you're thinking about this check,
Right.
right? Yeah, okay. Check. Doesn't appear to be a follow-up though. And now the queen's being attacked, right? And the only safe square for the queen is all the way down here, which the queen doesn't look happy down there. Let's see here. I mean, it's probably still winning, because probably once this knight is moved and mate is threatened on h7. But no, he didn't do that move. What else? What else did you think he did here?
Can advantage be gained from moving both white knights to f5 one at a time?
Well, which one?
Well, I'd get the one out of the way. I would do h6 first.
All right,
Check.
so you want to move this one to
Yeah.
here. Let's see here. Check.
Pawn takes, right?
All right. Now,
Right.
what do you want to do here? Here? What do you want to do?
No, that now the white knight takes the pawn that just
check.
picked up. Then the
Oh,
bishop takes.
Let's see.
Then the
Take,
white bishop takes.
takes.
Threatening. Oh, well, not really threatening check because of the knight.
Right. Yes,
I
not.
guess the bishop could take the knight and then you could threaten checkmate.
Yeah, it's
with
not that
queen.
forceful. Maybe he goes. I mean, he could block it. He could protect it this way. Now you take here. There's no more attack, and now the queen's open. The queen can drop over here and aid in protection as well.
Okay, that was bad.
It's all right. It's all right. Good try. Good try. What else? What else?
Maybe the knight to G4.
Knight to G4. Okay.
I'm just spitballing. I just thought that would open up, you could check him with the queen.
Mm-hmm. You could, but again, remember, black is on the defense, right? So black would love to trade pieces wherever possible. So he would probably want to do that. and now, where's the attack? Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So what else?
What about knight to H5?
Knight to H5. Why would you do that? Look at that weird looking move. It's a check.
Sacrifice it to open up the file for the.
Yeah. So again, right? The idea of sacrificing to open up scope, right? So he wants to open up this diagonal even further, right? So he goes knight H5. Well done. So knight H5. And now he takes this knight, but let's see. I mean, if he took the H6, that's probably pretty dangerous because you probably take here, check, and then you can probably take this one, and then it's getting dangerous. Now he's threatening here. Yeah, it's probably pretty dangerous. And also the queen is ready to come on here onto H6. So yeah. He took the H5 knight, and now white to move. What is the best move here?
Queen takes the pawn on H5.
Okay, queen takes H5. Okay, so it's not any direct threat right now. So maybe he can go. Let's see here.
Could he have played knight?
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, knight to
Right.
A, knight to F5 check, then bishop takes, and then the white plays bishop takes.
Yeah.
I don't know where you go from there.
Maybe he just protects this because you take this knight, it's gonna be unprotected, so he protects with rook H8. Yeah, and then it's hard to break through.
Right.
It's hard to break through. All right, so let's go back. What else? So here we are. Yeah. So what else?
Knight F5.
Knight F5 check. Let's say he takes.
That's what I just said, though.
Oh, it is. Okay, so
Oh no. You said queen takes here first, right?
Oh,
And then knight F5. So yeah, I mean the same thing because you're
Same
allowing
thing, yeah.
you're allowing him to trade pieces and and you're giving black too much opportunity to defend. So yeah. What do you think?
So I don't see the purpose of this, but you've shown us such shocking games. The most shocking thing, the most shocking thing that Carlson, like teenager Carlson, could do is exchange his queen for the knight.
Well, he's preteen Carlson, just to be clear. He's 12 years old. Okay, so what would you move?
Queen takes knight.
Okay, so does anyone recognize this position? This is actually a pretty famous position. Does anybody recognize the position? So this position is given as a lot of very frequently as chess puzzles for the example of Queen Sacrifice. Right, this is a pretty famous game that I see very often. Okay, and yeah, Queen takes G5 is what he played, and he must have seen this combination like a couple of moves ago, but yeah, Queen takes G5. This is a forced mate in 2 moves, and there's a couple of different ways that it can occur. So let's just look. Let's say, for example, he doesn't take the queen, right? So he doesn't take the queen, King H8. Now what?
So now.
Knight to F7.
Knight
Yeah,
F7 is
okay,
mate.
Knight F7 is mate, right? So he goes King F8. Now what?
Queen down on G8 is
Queen
mate.
G8 is mate, right? Very nice. Now, okay, so now we take the knight. So now what do we do?
Rook to F7 check.
Rook
No,
F7
no.
check. So now he has
Yeah.
2 options, H8 and H6, right? If he goes H8, now what?
Rook takes pawn.
Yeah.
Rook-
So now you
Rook
can see
takes
the
H7.
Oh,
now you can see the importance of this knight sacrifice on H5, right? To open up this bishop to access H7, right? Very important sacrifice. Rook takes H7. Very nice mate with the bishop and rook and knight combining to prevent the king from escaping. Very nice combination. And then finally, I think what was played in the game was king takes H6, and now what does he do?
Rook H7.
Yeah, so now he finishes off with the classic opera mate, right? Rook and bishop mate, right? Very nice mate. Again, the importance of opening up lines for your pieces cannot be emphasized enough, right? Very important to have open lines. Keep your pieces active. Keep them outside the pawn chains if you can, and just piece activity is very important. So excellent games by a couple of child prodigies. Any questions, comments? What do you guys think?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's inspiring. That's so crazy.
I was doing like when I was a preteen, I just did 4 knights all the time. Like I wouldn't think to like sacrifice my own knight and a queen.
Right.
The only
right.
thing I would focus on is like making sure I do 4 knights in the opening. And
Oh,
also
right.
black is a prodigy as well in this one.
No, just white. Yeah, white was 12-year-old Carlson. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Who is black in this one?
Black is a guy, Harestad, Harestad.
Interesting.
I'm not sure who that is. These are the names you can see, right? And yeah, we went over these other 2 games, I think, before you came on. Sammy Reshevsky and this Indian prodigy. So yeah, couple of child prodigy games to make you feel inadequate as adult chess players.
Thank you very much.
No problem. I mean, we have 5 minutes left. Do you guys want to do like a quick puzzle? One more puzzle on Lee chess?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's run
do a
it.
puzzle. All right, so here, let's go back to the beginning here. So let's look at this one. So we have E4, E4 and C5. We have the Sicilian defense, knight F3, D6, bishop B5. Anybody know the name of this variation? I'm not sure the name of what this is called. Anybody know? No? Okay. All right. So bishop D7, bishop takes, knight takes. All right. C3. Okay, so this is an idea, right? So sometimes D4 is played immediately, right? And if D4 is played, you take black usually takes on D4, knight takes back, and then white's left with 1 central pawn. But with C3, the idea is to replace the D4 pawn with the C pawn so that white maintains 2 central pawns, right, in the center. All right, D5. Oh, so he goes for an immediate sacrifice here. Okay, E5, D takes C5, castles, E6. All right, so rook E1, bishop D6, D4. Okay, opening up the position, takes, castles, takes. Okay, knight C3, rook B8, Bishop G5, Bishop E5. Ooh, what was that about? Okay, all right. By the way, this is a game. This is a rapid game between two 1500s. So I don't know if that explains this move. Maybe it does. Bishop E5, rook takes the free bishop. Knight D3, rook E3 takes B2, queen takes, bishop takes. All right. Knight E4. Okay, rook D1. I don't think that's such a good move. Why? Because black is already down a knight. Why would he want to trade more pieces? Doesn't make sense, but okay. Rook D1 takes, rook B3. Yeah. So now this knight is trapped, right? Now all this king has to do is walk over and take this knight, basically. F5, knight F6, check, king G7, check, king G6, knight G3, B5, king F1, B4. Okay, so now the knight's trying to escape on C3, probably gonna play, maybe gonna play knight E2 to prevent that, right? So he takes on C3 if he goes there, and he can't take back because the pin on the rook on B8. All right, so king E2, yeah, so not such a good move. Yeah, right here, I think knight, I think knight E2, and I think this knight would be lost. All right, looks like it. All right, so king E2, knight C3, king D3 takes, king D4, A5, knight E5 check, king G5. All right, so here, white to move. This is the position. So what do you guys think?
White can take the pawn on F7 and the king's in check again.
True, you can take a pawn, you can win a pawn. I think if this is a puzzle, they're looking for something a little bit stronger though than that. So what else?
F4.
Okay, so F4 check. So let's see, F4. So first of all, if the king goes back to F6, what does white do?
Forks.
Oh,
Right.
forks the
Yeah,
Knight
yeah.
fork.
So we have a potential fork here on D7, right? So keep that in mind. The king does not want to go back to F6, right? So F4 check. And if he
And
goes
if black,
to H4,
Mhm.
now what? F4, what if he goes to H4? Now what?
Well,
Knight
can't
F3.
the knight go to C6 and jeopardize the one or the other of the two black pawns? Well, no, maybe because of the black knight not.
What about knight
Um,
F3?
Okay, so knight F3. Okay, so knight F3 looks like mate, but it's not because he can go to G4, right? And
then white can push the H pawn.
you push the H pawn, he takes this knight.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, so F4 check. If he goes king H4, there's a quick way to win here. Easy way to win. What do you think?
oh,
I think you sacrifice the.
the knight.
I think knight takes F5, and then your rook opens up, and then the next move you're gonna go to H3 with your rook.
Excellent. Yeah. So knight F3, knight F5 check. So we would call that. I would call that. It's called a clearance sacrifice. Clearance, right? We're clearing the third rank for the entrance of the rook to access H3, and that would be what kind of mate? Anybody know what kind of mate that's called? What's it called when the mate occurs on the H file or the A file? Anybody know?
Is it like a smothered mate?
No, smothered mate
No.
is when the knight delivers a checkmate, and the king can't move anywhere due to its own pieces blocking it usually. What would that be called if the checkmates occur on the H file or the A file? Anybody heard of Anastasia's mate or corridor mate? So that is the name. So basically, it's the same as a back rank mate, which occurs on the first rank or the 8th rank. The corridor mate is when the king is relegated to the A file or H file and cannot escape to the neighboring file, right? To the G file or the B file, right? So very nice. So yeah, after F4 check, if he goes king H4, now we have the knight controlling G4 and G5. We have the pawn controlling G5. The knight controlling G4 and G6, and the pawn controlling G5. And so we just need the rook to come over and just control the entire H file. And that's a nice corridor mate or Anastasia mate. All right, so F4 check. Okay, so here I don't really see a forceful continuation because okay, F4 check. What if the king takes? Now what?
Rook to F3.
Okay, so
Yeah,
rook F3 check, and then the king comes back, and now what?
Goes back.
Now what? You know?
Knight can go to E4. It's another check.
Yeah, so rook's here, king's here, knight E4. Okay. I mean, even if you take here, you know, if you can go rook G3 check, but he doesn't have to go on the F6 square. You can just go to the H file and he's fine. You know, but I'm thinking that it's probably H4 or F4 is the first move. All right, what do you think? Which one should we try? Maybe F4? You guys want to try?
I'm vaguely thinking that like it may be H4. I don't know if it's different on that side where it's like, okay, now you're on the Anastasia row already. I don't know if that, and then you clear it out. So like H4, king takes, knight takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, rook down. I don't know if that helps. Because you're guiding the king to the
maybe
the mating file.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Maybe that. All right. So we try H4. What do you guys think? H4. Moment of truth. All right. Let's try H4. Let's see. Oh, ouch. Not the correct answer. All right. What else? F4 maybe? Seems like it, right? I mean, I don't think taking this pawn does anything because after king F6, then there's no more attack and he's attacking our knight actually. Right, so maybe F4. Yeah, all right, so F4. Okay, so now what do we do?
Rook to F3 check.
No, actually, I think I see the answer from here.
Knight to D3.
No, not knight D3. Yeah, I think I see the answer here. All right, what else? Yeah, knight D3, he just escapes on G5 again.
I think our G3 knight has to move, but I just don't know where it should move.
All right, I'll give you guys a hint, which I think is the key to this one. So this king right now cannot move anywhere except G5. G5 is the only escape square. So then the next question becomes, how do we remove that escape square from black?
To play H4.
H4. H4 now. And now black is in danger of rook F3 mate.
And I think there's like no way to even.
There's only one way. He can block mate, and that is knight C3. And now and now what do we do?
Well,
it's
I
still mate,
protest.
isn't it? Knight E2 is still mate in this.
No, knight E2,
no,
he takes, and now you're in check.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so H4, knight C3. See if you can visualize it before I move the pieces. So, sorry, we're a few minutes over.
Sorry, but can't Black go in response to H4?
Uh-huh.
Can't Black go D8 check?
D8 check. Ah, you're right. Ah, he's got a check here. Oh, that definitely complicates things. Oh my goodness. I didn't even see the check. Yeah, because I'm
Oh,
thinking
and then your knight is lost.
right. Shoot.
Not
You're
good.
right. Yeah, because I'm thinking H4, knight C3, rook takes, pawn takes, and then the knight drops back to E2, and that's mate. Wow, this rook check, I didn't even notice that. All right, so then maybe it has to be a check. So then maybe we have to bring the rook over. I'm thinking. Wow. All right. So what do you think? Rook over? Looks like it has to be a check, right? Or else we lose this knight.
Well, there's another way to check, but I don't see what good it does, and that is knight to H5.
Knight H5. Also, we have knight E2. So maybe knight E2. Forcing him back to G5. And then, yeah, that might be the best. And then we bring over with rook G3. He can't go to F6 because of the fork. So then he's forced onto the H file, right? So I think knight E2 probably is the best. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Wow, I was so confident about H4. I'm like, I got it. All right. Now what? Now what do we do? Looks like
We got to keep checking.
looks like with the rook, right? Bring the rook over,
Well,
right?
Yep.
Rook over. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So he makes it easy for us. Makes it easy. All right. So now we do this ends. All right. So let's go back. Let's just look at real quick. What if he went to the H file? What if he went to the H file? Let's see. He went H6. Now what?
well, you can check him by taking the pawn up there at F7.
Check. Okay. Now
Check again, I guess, with the other knights.
check again. And
You're out of checks.
I know, right? Check.
No, you have the rook
Yes.
check,
Got the rook,
rook
but-
to H6.
Yeah, but then he
yeah,
escapes.
But then it's
Then he
just like,
escapes. Then he escapes.
Well, the knight can check him.
Oh man, this is not clean. Yeah. I mean, you do have a knight check, but I'm sorry, knight check here, but he's gonna take your knight.
Well, or a knight check at H6.
yeah,
Okay, but
I
we're
don't know if
also
that
giving
helps.
away the G5 square. Knight H6, he takes here now. Then he can still retreat here, right?
Oh,
Should you have brought the king to E3 first?
Ah, very good. Yeah. So maybe, right? Maybe King E3 first. Ah, interesting. All right. And now what does he do? Maybe he goes something like that. Maybe.
mhm.
Um.
And then on the check, I think he only has one. It doesn't really. Yeah, you can't.
Shoot. Maybe we're just forced to win the rook at this point. Maybe there, I don't know. Maybe there isn't. Say we're just forced to win the rook here.
No,
Right?
wait, if you go back, you put the rook on, you pull it over and check. Isn't that checkmate?
Where? Here?
No, to G. right
No,
there.
no. He's got F6.
Oh, right,
and,
right.
and he's got H6.
All right.
Right. So yeah. All right. It looks like it should be a mate, right? Looks like it should be a mate, but it's not, I guess.
Yeah, like if they're giving up, then my assumption would be the other side would be like checkmate.
Probably. All right. So then this guy's just winning the rook. All right. Okay, cool. Good job, everyone. Good to see you all. So yeah, maybe I'll see you guys again soon if I sub again. All right. So have a good night,
Thank
everyone.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.